Good evening. You're now with me, Radzi Ahmad, for TVS Nightline. We begin with this story. Sarawak is reaching for the stars as it ventures into the space economy through the deployment of CUBESAT technology. This new generation of nano-satellites is set to bolster the state's capabilities in environmental monitoring and land management. Premier Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg says CUBESATs offer a more practical and cost-effective alternative to conventional satellites.
CUBESATs have the advantage of being less expensive. Scientists say the cost of a traditional satellite ranges from 100 to 300 million euros compared to a CUBESAT which costs less than 500,000 euros. I think the figure is there. In addition, a conventional satellite requires between 5 and 15 years to develop and deploy, while CUBESAT might need less than a year to build and out in low orbit.
Officiating the opening of the 2026 Asia-Pacific Aerospace Conference and Exhibition APACE today, the Premier noted that the data collected would be pivotal for environmental protection, specifically in monitoring mangrove areas and water flow patterns to improve flood mitigation efforts. He reveals that strategic discussions have already taken place to utilize this data for critical infrastructure planning.
Tadi saya berunding dengan Datuk Ahmad Douglas kerana ia boleh mengambilkan karakter tanah kita macam mangrove dan aliran air. This can be part of our ways how to control flood dari sana, dan kita boleh membangunkan kawasan ini di mana kita boleh letak di mana retention pond. Kalau musim hujan, air ini semua berkumpul di retention pond. Jadi ini berkendakan data yang betul, dan cube satellite ini boleh menghantarkan data.
Beyond environmental monitoring, the aerospace sector is expected to be a significant economic driver. Abang Johari highlights that the industry will create high-value jobs, noting that the state will require approximately 30,000 satellite technicians to support the aerospace sector. The Premier also witnessed the exchange of 7 memoranda of understanding targeting aerospace development and new aircraft maintenance, repair and overhaul programs.
Meanwhile, Abang Johari is calling for calm and judicial deference amid the ongoing legal impasse over the state's oil and gas ownership. He is urging all parties to await the final verdict from the judiciary rather than engaging in public debate. The Premier was responding to recent assertions by Law and Institutional Reform Minister Dato' Sri Azalina Othman Said, who claimed the Malaysia Agreement 1963 is silent on the regulation of petroleum resources.
Komen ada Menteri YB Azalina Madah dalam MS itu.
Tunggulah mahkamah. Tunggu mahkamah. Tunggu mahkamah.
The legal standoff intensified after Petronas filed a motion in the federal court earlier this month seeking a definitive ruling on the regulatory framework governing its operations in Sarawak. In a written parliamentary reply, Dato' Sri Azalina states that the industry is strictly governed by the Petroleum Development Act 1974, which vests exclusive ownership in the National Oil Company. She further contended that the PDA does not assign regulatory roles to state entities such as Petroleum Sarawak Berhad Petros. However, the Sarawak government remains firm in its stance that its rights are protected under the Oil Mining Ordinance 1958. As a state law that predates the formation of Malaysia, Sarawak maintains these rights were never relinquished and remain fully safeguarded by the federal constitution.
Malaysia successfully generated 45.4 billion ringgit in export sales last year. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says this was achieved through a strategy of expanding markets and trade opportunities.
Malaysia telah menjana jualan ekspor sebanyak 45.4 bilion ringgit dari hubungan ini, iaitu United Kingdom, Thailand, Russia, Italy, Perancis, Brazil, RRC, Republik Korea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Afrika Selatan dan sebagainya, yang menumpukan dalam bidang gas cecair asli LNG, minyak kelapa sawit, barangan E&E yang kian meningkat, terutama bidang semikonduktor, barangan aru angkasa, perabot dan bahan lain.
Elaborating further, Anwar says that the open trade approach has also led to Malaysia penetrating 240 international markets, including new markets showing significant growth. Malaysia has also managed to navigate global economic uncertainties and geopolitical tensions that have impacted international trade.
In a related development, the country's overall positive economic performance continues to strengthen the position and value of the ringgit. Anwar says the strengthening of the ringgit is driven by improving economic fundamentals, despite currency movements being influenced by external factors such as sentiment and international investor confidence.
Sebenarnya angka-angka ekonomi keseluruhannya itu menunjukkan petanda positif, dan ini juga berjaya memperkukuh kedudukan dan kekuatan ringgit. Tapi saya setuju bahawa sebaiknya kalau kita ada pilihan, ringgit itu harus mengukuh secara berhemah, perlahan, tetapi ini kadang-kadang luar berjangkaan. Keyakinan pelabur itu tidak dapat dikawal.
At the same time, Anwar emphasizes the importance of domestic measures to ensure the country's economic policies and frameworks remain strong, including efforts to control the deficit and attract quality investments. Commenting on the impact of the ringgit's strengthening on trade, Anwar, who is also the finance minister, says this development does not significantly affect the economy, despite concerns about exports and imports of goods. Yesterday, the ringgit continued its upward momentum, reaching 3.9665 against the US dollar, marking the highest level in recent years, last recorded on May 22nd, 2018.
In a bid to protect the interests of Muslim consumers and ensure compliance with halal standards during Ramadan, only food premises holding a halal certificate from Malaysia will be allowed to use the term Ramadan buffet in Sarawak. Head of the Halal Management Division at the Sarawak Islamic Religious Department, JAIS, Ramzan Ambi, says that the Sarawak Islamic Council, MIS, fully prohibits any premises without a halal certificate from using the term for business purposes during Ramadan. According to him, JAIS, as the enforcement body, will conduct regular monitoring to ensure that this directive is adhered to by all food premises.
Pemegang sijil halal sahaja yang boleh menggunakan istilah buffet Ramadan ataupun apa-apa istilah. Kita akan mengeluarkan poster, dan yang tidak ada mempunyai sijil halal adalah dilarang untuk menggunakan perkataan buffet Ramadan. Pihak kita akan bergerak daripada semasa ke semasa untuk memastikan supaya permis yang tidak ada sijil halal tidak boleh untuk menggunakan istilah buffet Ramadan ataupun seumpamanya untuk permis mereka.
He further adds that a briefing related to food preparation for Ramadan would be held soon, with the involvement of local authorities including MBKS, DBKU and Ramadan Bazaar traders. This initiative aims to provide vendors with knowledge on how to prepare food that meets halal standards, particularly to ensure the confidence of visitors, most of whom are fasting during the month.
Denmark, Greenland, and European partners are all making it clear to the United States that Greenland's sovereignty is non-negotiable. And courtesy of RT, we have an exclusive interview with Greenland Member of Parliament Kuno Fenker to get to the heart of the matter. He says, as many of his colleagues and locals have long been trying to get through to Washington's head, that Greenland doesn't have a price.
Our red line is that Greenland will have their sovereignty. We are not for sale. We will not bow under a new annexator or colonizer again, ever.
But Kuno says Denmark cannot manage Greenland alone, citing the island's vast size. Pressure is now coming from Washington, pointing to unmet commitments, including promises Denmark made in 2019 during talks with US President Donald Trump.
They will invest in the security defense aspect of Greenland, which they didn't. Now they budgeted quite a lot of defense equipment, but they haven't bought them yet. So it's like it will be difficult for Denmark alone, but Denmark is a part of NATO.
NATO's security umbrella is seen as critical, with early groundwork now being laid by the Alliance Secretary General to establish a framework for future cooperation. Kuno adds that strategic positioning is also important, with Greenland's location playing a decisive role in safeguarding US interests. Framed through a business lens, Kuno says Greenland is the most valuable piece of real estate Donald Trump could ever seek to acquire.
I will absolutely expect that our Minister of Foreign Affairs, at least, or the Premier of Greenland, is absolutely directly involved in those negotiations about Greenland, because we are saying nothing about Greenland without Greenland. So our people, our party, would like Greenland's sovereignty 100%, but know which country is absolutely independent.
The Faroe Islands and Greenland remain under Copenhagen's control and denied full sovereignty, as Denmark retains authority over defense, security, currency, and key state powers. Kuno argues Greenland wants an equal and democratic political partnership with Denmark and not continued rule under a unified kingdom.
I think if Denmark and the Western countries that are always communicating about respecting international law, respect self-determination, should urge Denmark to give up their last colony. We will not accept that the sovereignty of our island is taken by another state again.
Kuno is calling for a new political arrangement involving Denmark, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands, one built on equality and designed to endure well into the future.
Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Razi Ahmad. Thank you for watching and have a good night.